I have your DAF with me. So you're Aman Bhardwaj from Udhampur. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Aman Bhardwaj. I am 25 years old. I have done my class 10th and 12th from St. Xavier Convent School, Jammu. After that, I did my BTech from IIT Roorkee. And after completing my BTech in 2018, I decided to pursue for civil services examination. And since then, I have been preparing for that. And
Okay.
I have, in free time, I like to do some yoga and cycling and exercises.
All right, Aman. As I can see that Dogri is your mother tongue. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
tell me language family does the Dogri belong to?
So, it's Indo-European.
Indo-European.
Yes.
So who was the ruler who introduced Dogri script in Kashmir?
Sir, I'm not aware of that.
Are you aware of the father of Dogri language?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me, is Dogri included in the 8th schedule of the
Yes,
Constitution?
sir. Yes, sir.
So, which constitutional amendment actually led to the inclusion of Dogri in the 8th schedule?
I'm sorry, sir. I can't remember at this point of time.
Okay, Aman. As I can see that your birth date is 12th December 1996.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of any significant event that has happened in the subcontinent on this particular date?
I'm sorry, sir.
All right. Okay. Let's skip on to your district, Udhampur. So tell me about the sex ratio of Udhampur.
So, sex ratio, as of, I can't tell you exactly what is sex ratio, but I think it is something 890 something. In that range is something. It is.
Okay, so do we have any minerals that we can find in your district?
So, I'm not
Is
aware.
is is bauxite available there?
So, I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Okay, Aman. We know that in India there are various places where there have been in the geological history there have been the formation of dunes, and since you're from a district which is famous for a dune, can you tell me how the dune is formed?
Can you repeat yourself?
In the geological history of India, there are various places in which we find the formation of the dunes, and Udhampur is
Dunes.
very famous for that. Yeah, dunes. So, what are
Dunes.
dunes and how they are formed?
So, actually, they are mountainous depressions that are found by the fold mountains, and the formation of them is result of the deposition that is done by fluvial processes.
Okay, shed some light on the historical significance of Udhampur.
So, um,
Like, are there any temples in Udhampur which are very
yes, sir.
famous?
Yes, sir. We can find some ancient temples called Krimchi temples are there in Udhampur. And nearby, you can find that Sudmahadev temple is there for God Shiva. And near that, you can find uh, there's a place called Mantalai is there, where a famous yogi used to live. Dharendra Yogi was there. He has constructed uh, some airstrip is also there. Uh, Also, in main Udhampur, you can find Devika River is there.
Okay.
It
You
has some
talked about
religious
you.
importance.
Okay, you talked about Krimchi Temple. Tell
Yes,
me
sir.
the name that which is locally used for the Krimchi Temple.
Sir, I'm not aware of that.
So it's known as Pandava Temple locally.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you're from district Udhampur, and since we know that each district of Jammu and Kashmir have been allotted one product, so there's this concept of one district, one product. So in that scheme, which product was Udhampur allotted to?
Sir, I'm not aware.
All right. Okay, Aman, as I can see that you're a BTech in civil engineering from IIT Roorkee. You
Yes.
completed that in 2018. And why? Why would you shift? You're from a very prestigious college. IITs are considered one of the very prestigious colleges of India. And why would you shift your shift your interest in such a drastic way, wherein you can easily have gotten into a very good service, a very good private job as such? Why do you want to shift to civil services?
Sir, as I see it now, a lot of decisions that we take in our lives are impacted by our history. For example, I have always wanted to do such a job where I could have served people on face-to-face basis. Uh, that I think would not have been possible in some IT job or some civil engineering job, even though there are some good opportunities. But the job satisfaction that I would get by serving the society, poor people, and and being a conduit for their social development and economic development, that would have been a very satisfactory for me. So I decided to try for civil services.
Do you possess the qualities that are required from a civil servant? What are your strengths?
Sir, I have a high integrity. Uh,
Okay, so integrity is one of the virtues that you possess. What else?
so I think I have good empathy towards poor sections of society, and
Okay,
being uh, in link with our village, I think I have good empathy towards the how people live in villages, and also another strength I have is that I have seen the world. I've got good exposure, so I think I can help. I can act as a conduit between those unprivileged and how they should act in their life to get some good places in their life. So I can act as a conduit for them.
oh, so these are your strengths. So what are your weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? Just name three weaknesses.
So sometimes I tend to focus more on the negative side of the aspect and then the negative, positive side.
So you are
Sometimes I
pessimistic.
sometimes I get it. I get pessimistic.
Okay,
Second is that sometimes I can't find the balance with the work. Work-life balance is sometimes missing in my life.
okay,
And the third is that I'm a little bit more of introvert side. So I need to interact more with people so that I could diversify my perspective about their lives also.
okay. Okay, Aman, you're a civil engineering graduate,
Yes,
and
sir.
I hope you studied well. You're from a very good college. So please tell me that recently there was this news that in China they're using 3D printing for the construction of houses. So how is the what is 3D printing, and how is it significant from a construction perspective?
So, though I'm not aware of the news that you are talking about, I will try to answer it. I will try to answer it. So, actually, 3D printing is a technology where we construct layer by layer. The main focus is on construction of structures layer by layer, one layer above another layer and third layer. In this way, we print, uh, we do construction like printing is done. And the main advantage which I can think about of 3D printing is that it can be a very fast way to construct complex structures, like complex shapes can be constructed very easily and in less time with 3D printing. And for example, in civil engineering, there are some structures like arches, which are very difficult to construct with the conventional methods. And 3D printing can help very much in that.
So can you give me one line difference between what an additive manufacturing is and what is a reductive manufacturing?
So additive manufacturing is actually linked to 3D printing technology only. And in that, what we do is we construct a material by adding layer by layer on that, on one layer over another layer. And in this, and in what is the second you talked about?
Reductive manufacturing.
Reductive manufacturing is that it's conventional manufacturing where we first construct. We take, for example, we would make, for example, we will make one big part and we will remove small parts from that to get the desired product.
What would be the benefits of additive manufacturing?
Again, it would be very much economical because there would be less wastage of materials.
But we
And
know that having a 3D printer, which would be used for additive manufacturing, it is a very expensive technology.
yes, sir, it is an
So
expensive technology. Yes, sir. But if we do one-time investment, then over the long period of time, that cost can be recovered. I guess. I think.
yeah, how would you differentiate 3D printing from 4D printing, which was again in news recently?
Sir, I'm not aware of 4D printing.
Are you aware of the smart materials that are used nowadays for construction and as well as manufacturing of other components?
Again, I'm not 100% sure what are smart materials, but I can say that some materials like fly ash is being used in the construction of bricks and extra. I think.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Aman.
I'm not aware of that.
Sure. Please tell me what are the materials that are used for the building of roads in Kashmir, precisely Jammu and Kashmir.
Generally, the materials that are used for the construction of roads are first layer, the soil is there, then soil and sand, and they are compacted. Above that, the gravel is being spread, and different size of gravels is uh, in a sorted manner is spread. Then asphalt is used to cover the gaps, uh, and these are the main materials that I can remember of in making roads.
Okay, how would you categorize asphalt from concrete, and which of the one is better for the building of roads?
So it depends on the conditions of the area. For example, concrete roads, I think, are more suitable for in regions where there is less variations in temperatures. Because if there is very high variations in temperatures, the concrete may crack. On the other hand, if we use asphalt there, it can take a very high amount of temperature stresses, as well as asphalt provides a lot of flexibility in the construction which is very suitable for hilly regions, and which may not be suitable for which the concrete roads may not be suitable or economical.
Okay, if there are if the concrete is not is suitable for a region where there are high temperature differences, so do you think the policy of the government in Jammu and Kashmir laying concrete roads is somehow it was somehow an ill decision?
So I think I've made some mistake in that, in saying that concrete may not be suitable for high temperatures. With some technologies, concrete can be made suitable for high temperatures. For example, giving some suitable gaps at regular intervals, and laying some steel uh, in that can help in uh, making it suitable for. Again, I can say that it may be costly, more costly than asphalt.
Okay, please tell me what is the concept of banking of roads?
So again, I'm not remembering the concept, but I can tell you that banking of roads is done for maintaining the drainage on the roads, to reduce the collective collection of water on the roads. So some portions of the roads are uh, raised, and some portions are kept downward so that adequate drainage can be maintained. But again, I'm not 100% sure that what is banking of the roads.
We know you also have geography as your optional. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Jammu Kashmir is in which of the earthquake zones?
Sir, it is in the topmost zone in the earthquake classification. It is on the highest zone.
Which
I'm
zone
not
would be that?
I'm not remembering the exact number. I think it is fourth or something, but I'm not sure about it. But it is in the
So,
topmost zone. Yes.
so it's in the topmost. So we know that because Jammu Kashmir is in the topmost zone, and there are frequent earthquakes that we have of a higher degree as well. Please tell me, what do we have in the ancient architecture, the traditional architecture that we had, the vernacular architecture? So, is there anything in that that was sort of earthquake proof before the modern architecture came into place?
Sir, I'm not aware of this.
Aren't you aware of the Tak system or Dhaji Diwari system, anything like that?
No, sir. I'll look into it, but I'm not aware of it.
All right, let's move on to your particulars that you filled in your DAF. So you have been a decent student in your 12th grade as well, and you also qualified GATE, and you've been an executive member in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So what actually did you do in that particular scheme?
Sir, like to give you the overview of the scheme first. Actually, the scheme is related that every technology institution will act as a gateway for the socio-economic development of the nearby villages. So actually, what we did was we would make teams of our college students under the guidance of some teacher, and we would go into the villages and try to find out the problems they were facing, and we will try to solve those problems by proposing some solutions. So one of the things that I have contributed to in Unnat Bharat Abhiyan was we went to this village called Charba, which was near Dehradun, and there we went to a Dalit Basti, I personally went there and I found that their condition was not good, especially women condition. So we wanted to do something for the self-employment. So for that, we went to another village nearby Chalba, and there we found a small enterprise that was going on. It was related to the dona pattal business, that small donuts were made that are being sold to nearby villages, nearby city centers, for example, where we eat the pani puri. And we did some cost analysis of that machine, how much that machine cost, what kind of skills that are needed, and it turned out to be around 40,000. So unfortunately, when I was in my college time, that project could not be completed, but recently it has been completed, and that machine has been set up in Chalba village. So and they are the women over in the village are also earning some amount from that. So that I think is good achievement.
Okay, tell me about the phase two of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, which was launched in 2018. How would you differ the phase one and phase two?
Sir, after 2018, I'm not aware of this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan because I left the college. Also, I left the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan in 2017 only in the college itself. So I'm not aware, I think.
Okay, as I can see that yoga is one of your hobbies, along with cycling and calisthenics and teaching. Let's talk about yoga. Yoga, please give me the literal meaning of yoga.
Yoga literally means that we have to unite our spirit with the ultimate spirit. That it's the concept of non-duality.
So, do you think the current practices that we have in yoga, which are practiced in these yoga centers and all that, do you think there is any spiritual aspect to it?
I think it's a very personal thing to say. Some people may be doing it for spiritual purposes. Some people may be doing it for fitness purposes. I think for both the purposes are good. Some people are definitely doing it for spiritual purposes, and I
How,
can't say.
how would you how would you differentiate ancient yoga, traditional ancient yoga versus the modern yoga that we have?
One thing I can find is that modern yoga is more about the postures. It is I think it is lacking the traditional the core of the yoga, that is self discipline, um, how to behave, how to eat. It is taking taking as a form of just another exercise, which yoga is actually not. It is much more than exercise. So I think that thing is missing. Also, I think the with due respect of the government initiatives, but I think that yoga is not a competition. It is a self journey. So I think we should focus on the individual aspects of yoga. Like yoga should be actually individualized. It should not be uh, done in like it should not be seen in a competitive manner.
Institutionalized.
It
Okay.
should be individualized. The
Okay.
real yoga in the ancient yoga was individualized.
You are of the opinion that it should be individualized and not institutionalized. But it was in 2014, I guess, when India proposed in the United Nations General Assembly that we should have an international yoga day.
Yes, sir.
Which day would that be?
Sir, I can't remember that day.
Okay. Do you know of any world records that India has about this yoga?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you shed some light how yoga was beneficial during the COVID-19?
Yes, sir. It was very beneficial during the COVID-19 because COVID-19, most of us were locked in the room in our houses, and we were facing problems of anxiety, and some people also were also facing some depression, not being able to interact with a lot of people, and also a lot of problems related. Many people were having a lot of problems related to health, related to respiratory issues. So yoga would have definitely helped people. in overcoming those issues. Yoga actually helps both physical and mental aspects. So I think it has helped. And also with the growth of social media, we can learn a lot of poses on the social media too. So I think it may have helped a lot.
Okay. Is yoga recognized as a sport in India?
Yes, sir. I think has been recently recognized as a sport by Ministry of Youth Affairs.
Okay. All right. I can see that cycling is one of your hobbies.
Yes, sir.
Um, what is Tour de France?
Sir, sorry, sir, I can hear you.
What is Tour de France?
Tour de France, sir, it's a cycling race that is done in France. It is. I'm not actually followed it, but I'm just aware of it that it is a race that is cycling race that is done in the hills of France in the Alps mountains. It is done.
Okay, are you aware of this person who has won 7 consecutive titles? Lance Armstrong. Are you aware?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So there was some controversy regarding that person. What was it?
Yes. So I think it was related to the doping controversy was there.
Okay. What is doping?
So doping is the illegal use of medications to enhance your performance in sports.
Does India have any legislation on it? Any bill?
So I'm not aware of that as
Do
of
we have
now.
any
No.
organization? Do we have any organization that looks into this?
So I'm not aware of that right now.
You have geography as your optional. Are you aware of this concept of radical geography?
Yes, sir.
Please elaborate on that.
So radical geography was actually emerged in the USA in 1970s during the social relevance movements, because of inability of the quantitative revolution to solve the problems of society like inequality, poverty, the racial discrimination which was existing in USA. So radical geography actually was, as the name suggests, was a very radical uh, thought in geography, and it was mainly harbingered by authors like Pete and Harvey. And the main focus of the radical geography was to study the social structures, the underlying structures that were existing in the society, rather than only seeing the upper problems like uh, Pete all like on when we see uh, on the upper structure, we will find that poverty is existing, but radical will say that poverty is existing, but we have to find out the reasons why poverty is existing. For example, poverty may be due to some racial aspect, from some gender aspect. So they are focusing on the underlying structures that are existing behind the social problems. And one group in radicalism is related to Marxism, and they focus on the political economy aspects of the problems that existed in the society. For example, they actually target the capitalist society, and they argue for the change in political economy from capitalist to the community based organizations like communism.
Okay. So let me elaborate on some of the points that you've made. You talked about inequality. So
Yes, sir.
inequality is on the rise globally and even in India. So give me the measurements of inequality. How do we measure inequality?
So some measurements of inequality are the Gini coefficient we make inequality, and other measures of inequality which I can think of.
Give me an index, a measurement of inequality that was created in India.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not able to recall it.
Are you aware of the decile ratio or the Palma ratio?
No, sir.
Okay, so you are talking about the capitalistic and communistic economies. Uh, has capitalism failed the modern economies?
I won't say it has completely failed. Capitalism, I think, has been a major driver behind the promotion of innovation and entrepreneurship and the growth spirit. But at the same time, I can say that capitalism has been 100% good. A major problem of capitalism has been the inequality, and the regional inequality, both social and regional inequality, has been the main problems of capitalism, according to me.
So do you think India is leaning towards capitalism right now?
I don't think so. India is heading towards capitalism. Government of India has a very balanced perspective about this. They are actually focusing on the growth because for any kind of social program which we have, which we are going to do from the for the socialistic perspective, it will need some money. It will need some resources. For that, growth is important. So government is actually acting as a conduit between the growth, which is being helped with the initiatives like ease of doing business and
So
privatization. Yes.
don't we focus on growth in capitalism? So if India
Yes,
is
sir, we
focusing on
focus.
growth, so
Yes, sir, we
what is
focus.
the difference? What is the difference?
Sir, actually, we don't 100% believe on on the principle of invisible hand, and we government of India is actually focusing on providing a helping hand to the poor in the form of safety nets like like schemes like Manrega is there, Garib Kalyan Yojana is there, social security government is providing. So we're
This
not
concept of
100%. Yes, sir.
this concept of invisible hand was some time back also used by economic survey. What do you understand by this concept of invisible hand?
So invisible hand is the concept used in the capitalism where um, everything is kept in the market, and everything is relied on the market, and it is believed that market forces are enough to provide uh, the actually it is related to the spread effects, like if for example if somewhere growth is happening, and this growth will automatically spread out to other regions and other sections of society, and government should not play a big role in that.
So does does invisible hand mean the same that you're talking about? Is this the invisible hand, or you're just elaborating on the features of capitalism? My specific question is, what is invisible hand?
So I'm sorry, I think I'm not aware of the concept.
You talked about we focus on growth and then also provide some safety nets for the poor population. So give me the debate that we have in India regarding the focusing on growth aspect and the capability approach that was propounded by Amartya Sen. What is the debate?
First, I like to talk about the capability aspect. The capability aspect of Amrita Sen, it focuses on the base on the building human capability. Like it is basically related to the growth of human development, and it considers that human beings are the ultimate resources of the nation, and if human beings are resourceful, automatically the nation should grow. So capability approach then thus focuses on building the human resources like through education, health, and other social security uh, for old people. And as compared to growth, I don't think so that the debate can there is complete dichotomy between this. I think there is a overlap between human capability approach and growth. They both actually complement each other, because if we have good resources, we will automatically invest more in the capability. So I think they are
Can you
complementary.
can you name an economist in India who is actually growth oriented and who does not converge with what the Amartya Sen has been saying all this time?
So I'm not aware.
Okay,
Sorry.
all right. Let's conclude, Aman.
Yes, sir.
I you can have some papers in front of you so that you can
Yes, sir.
take down the feedback. So tell me if your opinion about how was the interview.
So actually, it was quite good. I felt I've also given some in other institutes. I find this content-wise, it was very good.
But what I have felt is that we need to work on a lot of things.
Okay, sir.
I'll go one by one. Firstly, I believe that you have not worked entirely on your DAF because majorly my questions were uh, it revolved around the DAF only. I did not ask you any contemporary issues, but what I wanted to see is that have you prepared the DAF? So because your mother tongue is Dogri, you're but natural. They will ask you the questions on Dogri. It's an Indo-Aryan language, and script was introduced in India by Ranbir Singh. 8th शेड्यूल में 92nd कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट 2003 ने इसको डाला. नॉट ओनली दैट, फादर ऑफ डॉगरी जो है पद्मश्री भी उनको मिला, नाथ शास्त्री. सो ये लैंग्वेज के रिलेटेड जो आपके क्वेश्चंस बन सकते हैं, यू शुड हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड दैट. और ये कुछ फैक्चुअल एस्पेक्ट ही होता है, पर इससे हमें आइडिया मिल जाता है कि नहीं, यू नो योर ओन लैंग्वेज. आपको अपने रूट्स के बारे में कम से कम आपको पता है. Going after your language, going to the second question was about your date of birth. Well, we know that ये date of birth 12th December 1996 was very significant in a way कि इस दिन we had that 30-year treaty between India and Bangladesh, जहां पर हमें Ganges का water जो है उस particular subject पे we had a 30-year treaty between India and Bangladesh. So इसमें देवगौड़ा साहब और शेख हसीना from Bangladesh, they had this treaty. So you should know about your particular date of birth as well. Also, some of the panelists might also talk about कौन सी फेमस पर्सनालिटी है जो जिनका बर्थडे आपके बर्थडे से मिलता है. So we have this very famous cricketer Yuvraj Singh, as well as this person Rajnikant from the south film industry. So वो आप वहां से देख लेना. You were not ready about Udhampur. I believe that आपको उधमपुर पे काफी अभी काम करना चाहिए अपनी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के बारे में. सेक्स रेशियो आपको पता होना चाहिए था एग्जैक्टली. तो आपने जो गेस किया, नो डाउट गेस ठीक था आपका, पर मिनरल्स क्या क्या मिलते हैं, सेक्स रेशियो क्या है, लिटरेसी रेट क्या है, किस किस तरीके के लेक्स वहां पर है. एंड बीइंग अ ज्योग्राफी स्टूडेंट, यू शुड हैव नोन अबाउट द ड्यून्स और उधमपुर का क्या कनेक्शन है उसके साथ. फिर आपने क्रिमची टेम्पल का बोला. बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक विद योर आंसर्स, बिकॉज जो भी आप वर्ड बताएंगे देयर विल बी अ काउंटर क्वेश्चन टू दैट. जैसे मैंने आपको क्रिमची टेम्पल पे पूछा, फिर इसकी पांडवा टेम्पल इसको बोलते हैं लोकली. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई फेल्ट अबाउट योर उधमपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट. और इसमें वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन प्रोडक्ट क्या है, पिकल्स को हमने इसमें रखा था वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन प्रोडक्ट पर. तो ये तो हो गया आपके डिस्ट्रिक्ट के बारे में. उसके बाद बिकॉज यू ऑल्सो हैव अ कैटेगरी, वुड वांट कि आप उस पर भी अच्छा काम करो. देखो कि आप कौन सा सेक्शन है जेके रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्ट में जो एससी वगैरह के साथ डील करता है एटसेट्रा। उसके बाद व्हाट आई फेल्ट इज बिकॉज यूर फ्रॉम अ गुड कॉलेज, आपने सिविल इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में ठीक ठाक जवाब दे दिए, बट यू आर नॉट वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट विद दीज क्वेश्चंस। अब देखो आपका, यू शुड नो दैट यूर अ ज्योग्राफी स्टूडेंट एज वेल एज अ सिविल इंजीनियरिंग ग्रेजुएट। तो आपको पता होना चाहिए था अर्थक्वेक हमारा जोन 5 में आता है, और उसके लिए हम हमारा वर्निकुलर आर्किटेक्चर क्या है, और अभी के आर्किटेक्चर में हम अर्थक्वेक के रिलेटेड क्या क्या चीजें कर रहे हैं। तो वो तो सवाल बनता है आपका, बिकॉज वी वुड दे वुड एक्सपेक्ट यू टू हैव अ वेरी गुड नॉलेज अबाउट सिविल इंजीनियरिंग एस्पेक्ट। इसमें रोड्स का कॉन्सेप्ट है, फ्यूचर ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट क्या है। आज देयर इज दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सोलर हाईवेज, जहां पर रोड पर ही हम सोलराइजेशन कर रहे हैं। वी हैव दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ धज्जी सिस्टम, जो दीवारें हम बनाया करते थे, और दीवारों के बीच में वी यूज्ड टू हैव दीज वुडन लॉग्स, को हम धज्जी दीवारी सिस्टम कहते हैं, जिससे शॉक अब्जॉर्बर बनता था। तो दे आर मोर दे आर नॉट वल्नरेबल टू अर्थक्वेक्स दैट मच। So this is what I felt about your background in civil engineering. उसके बाद we talked about yoga. You were not uh, very confident about the international day. ये पता होना चाहिए था आपको। इसमें इंडिया के इस साल की थीम क्या थी योगा की, योगा फॉर ह्यूमैनिटी, और हमारे इसमें 2 गिनीज वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड्स भी है। तो योगा बिकॉज आपने मेंशन किया है, तो योगा पे सवाल आपका बनता ही बनता है। साइकिलिंग पे सवाल आपका बनता है, और साइकिलिंग को सीधा लिंक किया जाएगा आर्मस्ट्रॉन्ग के साथ, और वहां पर आपका डोपिंग वाला क्वेश्चन बनेगा। और डोपिंग के लिए इंडिया ने रिसेंटली नेशनल एंटी डोपिंग बिल भी टेबल कर दिया पार्लियामेंट में, और उसके फीचर्स क्या है, उसके कंसर्न्स क्या है, प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है, और सोल्यूशंस क्या है। और वी हैव ऑल्सो हैव वाडा एंड नाडा, जो विच लुक्स एट डोपिंग एट द इंटरनेशनल एंड द नेशनल लेवल एज वेल। इसमें आपको ये भी देखना है कि कौन कौन से केमिकल इस्तेमाल होते हैं डोपिंग में, जैसे न्यूट्रोपिक्स है, ऐसे ही आपका वी आल्सो हैव दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ब्लड डोपिंग, जहां पर वी टेक द ब्लड आउट ऑफ द पर्सन एंड देन बिफोर द गेम इज देयर, फिर हम उसको उसकी बॉडी में वापस डाल देते हैं, तो उसकी एनर्जी लेवल बढ़ जाती है उसमें। सो दैट वुड बी इट। ये हो गया आपका योगिंग वाला, साइकिलिंग वाला कॉन्सेप्ट। आपने उन्नत भारत अभियान स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया है, एंड उसके बारे में यू डोंट हैव द आइडिया। तो दिस इज नॉट अ गुड एक्सक्यूज कि 2018 के बाद यू वर नॉट वेरी फॉन्ड ऑफ इट और आपने नहीं उसके बाद पढ़ा। बट सिंस यू हैव मेंशनड इट, आपका उन्नत भारत अभियान का A to Z आपको पता होना चाहिए। इसमें जो फेज 1 था, फेज 1 में वी कॉल इट द इनविटेशन मोड, जहां हमने हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस को इनवाइट किया था फॉर दिस, जो आपने बोला था फॉर विलेजेस एंड ऑल दैट, टू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रॉब्लम्स एंड द सॉल्यूशंस। देन 2018 में वी लॉन्च्ड उन्नत भारत अभियान 2.0, जहां पर इट वाज द चैलेंज मोड। नाउ वी हैव टू टेक अप द प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ एटलीस्ट 5 विलेजेस, फिर उस पर काम करना है। फिर आपके पास अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस भी है कि आप उसमें क्या काम करेंगे। तो ये तो कुछ फैक्चुअल चीजें थी विच आई वुड वांट कि आपको अच्छी नॉलेज हो इसमें। पर एक चीज जो सही नहीं बैठ रही थी, दैट वाज योर ज्योग्राफी नॉलेज अबाउट ज्योग्राफी, was not that good, बिकॉज अर्थक्वेक के रिलेटेड इट वाज अ शॉकर कि आपको जोन क्लियर नहीं था कश्मीर का। ये तो हो गया फैक्चुअल एस्पेक्ट में। नाउ फैक्ट्स में द थिंग इज यू कैन वर्क ऑन इट एंड यू कैन इम्प्रूव इट। आपको बस ये काम करना है इस पर। नाउ लेट मी टॉक अबाउट सम वर्चुअस एस्पेक्ट जो मुझे लगा। सबसे पहले यू आई टॉक्ड अबाउट व्हाई डू यू वांट टू जॉइन सिविल सर्विसेज। तो सिविल सर्विसेज में आपने एक क्लिशे जवाब दे दिया कि डेवलपमेंट, इकोनॉमिक एंड नेशनल डेवलपमेंट, सोशल डेवलपमेंट वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आपने क्या, कंट्रीब्यूशन आपने बोला, आप सोसाइटी के लिए कुछ करना चाहते थे एंड ऑल, वो सब ये थोड़ा, ये ठीक है। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट ऐसा नहीं है, इवन ऐसा अगर है भी, और अगर ये सच भी है कि आप ये करना चाहते हो, बट यू शुड हैव अ प्रैग्मेटिक अप्रोच टू इट। थोड़ा प्रैक्टिकल होना चाहिए, जिसमें आप ये बता सकते थे सर देयर आर मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ रीजंस, बिकॉज एक रीजन तो नहीं होता किसी भी चीज को सिलेक्ट या रिजेक्ट करने के लिए। तो मल्टीट्यूड ऑफ रीजंस थे। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल सर, इफ आई वाज इन अ मल्टीनेशनल कॉर्पोरेशन या आईटी रूट से निकलकर मैंने कोई जॉब भी कर लिया था, उसमें सर मुझे डाइवर्सिटी नहीं मिलती, क्योंकि मैं इनहेरेंटली काफी क्यूरियस पर्सनैलिटी हूँ। आई वांट टू लर्न अबाउट न्यू थिंग्स, तो मुझे डाइवर्स वर्क कल्चर काफी अट्रैक्ट करता है। सेकेंडली सर बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट जॉब और काफी रिप्यूटेड जॉब है, तो फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी वाला कॉन्सेप्ट भी इसमें ऐड हो गया। तो दिस शोज दैट यू आर प्रैक्टिकल इनफ टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हाँ इसमें आपका फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट भी है। उसके बाद आप ये बता सकते थे सर इसमें मेरा इमोशनल एंगल भी इन्वॉल्व है, बिकॉज फाइनेंसेस तो अगर मैं आईटी से निकल के कहीं पर जॉब भी कर लेता, फाइनेंसेस तो मैं वहां से देख लेता अपने। बट द थिंग इज कि जो मैं यहाँ कर सकता था वो मैं वहां पर नहीं कर पाता, इन अ वे दैट जस्ट गिव सम स्टोरी, सम इमोशनल स्टोरी अबाउट योर डिस्ट्रिक्ट। कोई अगर डिस्ट्रिक्ट मैजिस्ट्रेट आपकी डिस्ट्रिक्ट में आया था, कभी आपने उसका काम देख लिया, या आपके घर से कोई सिलेक्ट हुआ था, आपने देखा उसने क्या चेंजेस किए अपनी फैमिली में, अपनी सोसाइटी में, अपने इर्द गिर्द अपने एरिया में, तो वो एक इमोशनल एंगल भी डाल देता है इसमें। तो इससे आपका वो एथिकल एस्पेक्ट भी दिख जाएगा कि यहां से तो आप प्रैक्टिकल हो, यूर टॉकिंग अबाउट डाइवर्सिटी, यूर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी, वो प्रैक्टिकलिटी दिखा रहा है आपकी, लेकिन यहां से आपका एथिकल एंगल भी दिख रहा है कि योर इमोशनल एज वेल, morally sound ho, you want to work for the people and something like that, then you can add the contribution to the society as well. I would severely ask you to not use words like social service, not use words like power, prestige. ये काफी strong words है, तो इसको थोड़ा you have to avoid it. उसके बाद I talked about your what are your strengths. तो स्ट्रेंथ में यू टोल्ड स्टॉप्ड एट दैट। जब भी आपको ऐसा पूछा जाएगा स्ट्रेंथ बताओ या वीकनेस बताओ, जस्ट कम अप विद 2 or 3 एटलीस्ट, ठीक है ना। डोंट जस्ट पुल ऑन द वन शॉट और उसके बाद बंद कर दो आप। इंटेग्रिटी है, डेडिकेशन है, फोकस्ड हो आप, you have determination, patience. You can use these words, perseverance and all that. Empathy, it was a very good word, empathy. And they might even come up with a question कि आप empathetic हो, give me an example in your life जब आप empathetic थे, right? So you have to come up with a story उधर ही कि ऐसी कौन सी situation थी जहां पर आप empathetic रहे हो लाइफ में, ठीक है ना। Just come up with a light story, जैसे मेरा दोस्त है, I talked to him and because he did not say he did not share his feelings with me, but I could understand. I was empathetic and I could understand that he's not feeling well. Then I talked about your weaknesses. Weaknesses में you talked about आप introvert हो, it takes time to open up, वो ठीक था, because उससे कोई आपकी administrative services में problem नहीं आएगी। आपने बोला मेरा वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस ठीक नहीं है, वो भी आपका इट वाज परफेक्ट, उससे भी कोई एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में वी डोंट हैव एनी इशू। बट द थर्ड वन यू सेड इज दैट आई लुक एट द नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट समटाइम, दैट इज अ क्वेश्चन ऑन योर कैरेक्टर, कि आप पेसिमिस्टिक हो एंड यू डू नॉट हैव दैट बैलेंस इन योर लाइफ, कि आप you somehow sometime tilt onto the pessimistic angle. तो ऐसी कोई वीकनेस नहीं बोलनी है जिसकी वजह से आपके कैरेक्टर पे क्वेश्चन उठे कि नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट पे ज्यादा फोकस कर रहा है। तो थोड़ा आप यहाँ पर वीकनेस में ये बोल सकते थे सर मेरा डाइट मुझसे कंट्रोल नहीं हो पा रहा क्योंकि मैं आई लव फूड, ठीक है ना। सो दैट इज समथिंग काफी लाइट है, वीकनेस भी है, और उससे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में कोई दिक्कत नहीं आएगी। समझ रहे आप
सर? अगर नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट से देखने से इसमें पॉजिटिव भी तो है कि मतलब हमको अगर किसी चीज का हमेशा नेगेटिव देखेंगे तभी तो हम उसमें से इसकी इम्प्रूव कर पाते हैं।
बिल्कुल, उसमें इट हैज अ स्कोप ऑफ इंटरप्रिटेशन, और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि आपको इंटरप्रेट करने का मौका ना मिले और पैनलिस्ट खुद से ही इंटरप्रेट कर ले जो उसको ठीक लगेगा। तो व्हाई डू वांट टू गिव हिम दैट स्कोप?
ओके,
है ना। एंड एक चीज मैंने एक और चीज रियलाइज की, जब आपको नहीं पता था तो आपने बोला कि सर मुझे परफेक्ट नॉलेज तो नहीं है इस बारे में, हाउएवर आई कैन टेल यू कि ऐसा है, ठीक है ना। सो इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग दैट व्हाट यू कैन से इज सर आई डोंट नो द एक्चुअल कॉन्सेप्ट, कैन आई मेक अ गेस, कैन आई मेक अ कैलकुलेटेड गेस? आस्क फॉर द परमिशन, एंड इफ दे गिव यू द परमिशन देन कम अप विद एन आंसर, ठीक है ना। डोंट डायरेक्टली जंप टू द आंसर। एंड व्हाट आई रियलाइज्ड इज when I countered you on the question of concrete that has an influence on temperature, has an influence on concrete. You were very honest in and real. I would say that was very good of you to accept that you had made an error. तो वो दिखाता है कि आप accommodating हो, आप you learn from your mistakes and then you come up with a better answer. वो मुझे काफी अच्छा लगा. और एक चीज which I would recommend you is do not look at the ceiling. While you're answering to a particular panelist, वो maintain कर लो आप, आई कांटेक्ट मेंटेन कर लो. ठीक है ना. आई कांटेक्ट भी काफी लीनियंट होना चाहिए, काफी हम्बल होना चाहिए. सो डू नॉट लुक एट द सीलिंग. आप कंटिन्यूसली सीलिंग की तरफ देखते हो जब भी आप सोचते हो.
यस सर.
ठीक है ना. सो डू नॉट डू दैट.
सोचने के लिए अगर अगर, मैं आई कांटेक्ट बहुत ज्यादा करूंगा सर, तो थोड़ा सोचने में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है कई बार. तो क्या करना चाहिए उसके लिए?
आप क्या कर सकते हो, ये जनरली हम ये ट्रिक करते हैं जब हम पैनल के सामने बैठते हैं. तो सपोज मैं आपसे सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, आपका आई कांटेक्ट मेरे साथ है, पर क्योंकि आपको सोचना है, आप दूसरे पैनलिस्ट के साथ आई कांटेक्ट कर सकते हो फॉर अ शॉर्ट पीरियड. जस्ट मेंटेन द आई कांटेक्ट विद द पैनलिस्ट्स ओनली. ऊपर नीचे दाएं बाएं बिल्कुल भी नहीं देखना है. ठीक है. what the last thing that I realized is, you open a lot of scope for the questions. पहले तो I told you regarding that question, उन्नत भारत अभियान पे मैंने आपको बोला कि आपने यू हैव बीन एन एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर, आपने क्या काम किया उसमें. दैट वाज द स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन कि आपने क्या काम किया. यू वेंट ऑन टू एक्सप्लेन कि उन्नत भारत अभियान क्या है. फिर आपने वो बहुत सारी स्पेसिफिक डिटेल्स दी कि फलाना फैमिली है और एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, विच आई बिलीव वाज अननेसेसरी, बिकॉज वहां पर आप काफी स्कोप छोड़ देते हो सवाल का. सो बी स्पेसिफिक विद योर आंसर कि उन्नत भारत अभियान में एज एन एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर मेरा जॉब क्या था. फिर वो आपको काउंटर करेंगे कि उन्नत भारत अभियान क्या है, उसका क्या फेज था, क्या अभी क्या फेज है, वगैरह वगैरह. ठीक है ना. एंड एक और चीज आई टॉक्ड अबाउट दिस कॉन्सेप्ट रेडिकल ज्योग्राफी. तो रेडिकल ज्योग्राफी से यू वेंट ऑन टॉकिंग अबाउट इनइक्वालिटी एंड पॉवर्टी. तो इनइक्वालिटी जब मैंने क्वेश्चन किया, फिर आप कैपिटलिज्म पे गए, सोशलिज्म पे गए, कम्युनिज्म पे गए. मैंने कैपिटलिज्म को इनविजिबल हैंड पे गया, वहां पर आप फंस गए. तो वहां पर यूज दीज वर्ड्स when you talking about invisible hand, you had no idea what invisible hand is. तो जब आपको नहीं पता तो उसको मेंशन ही मत करो आप. ठीक है ना. और अगर आप सपोज नहीं भी पता है आपको एंड आपका निकल गया मुंह से इनविजिबल हैंड है, फिर जब मैंने क्वेश्चन किया तो यू जस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट सम अदर स्टफ जो इनविजिबल हैंड के साथ जिसका लेना देना नहीं था. तो दैट वुड बी अ प्रॉब्लम कि अगर आपको नहीं पता, जस्ट कम अप विद दिस आंसर. सर अभी आई कैन नॉट रिकलेक्ट कि इनविजिबल हैंड क्या है. मगर गलत जवाब नहीं देना है. आप ये बता सकते हो कि मैं रिकलेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ बिकॉज आपने काफी पहले पढ़ा था, तो यू आर नॉट एबल टू रिकलेक्ट. बट डोंट गिव रॉन्ग आंसर्स. मैंने आई टॉक्ड अबाउट इनविजिबल हैंड एंड यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट सम फीचर्स ऑफ द कैपिटलिस्टिक इकोनॉमी. Do you have any questions?
ठीक है सर.
तो ठीक है अमन, इन चीजों पे आप वर्क करो. आपका बैकग्राउंड अच्छा है, आपका ऑप्शनल अच्छा है, आपकी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज अच्छी है, पर रिसर्च अच्छा करना है उस पर. तो वो मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा उस पर अगर आप मेहनत करेंगे, अभी आपके पास अच्छा खासा टाइम है. अपनी लैंग्वेज, अपना बर्थ डेट, अपनी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, अपना बैकग्राउंड, उन्नत भारत अभियान, बिकॉज यू मेंशन्ड इट, योगा, साइकिलिंग, ये सब पे अच्छा खासा मेहनत करो आप. और थोड़ा सिविल इंजीनियरिंग का जो प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट है उस पर भी. ओके.
ओके सर.
ऑलराइट. विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट. गॉड ब्लेस यू.